They call it Barsak Plateau, a lonely landmass in the heart of Kazakhstan. Once an island, now a place whispered about in hushed tones, the place of no return. Strange things happen here, things that make your hair stand on end. Time seems to bend in bizarre ways, clocks go haywire, and even UFO sightings are talked about. Legend has it that people wander in and simply vanish, or they come back years later with wild tales that make no sense. Some say those who spend a night there turn a strange shade of blue, and the fresh graves in that abandoned graveyard? Who's burying their dead out there in that desolate place? Barsak Plateau isn't for the faint of heart. It's a place of mystery, a dare for those who crave the unknown. Just remember, you might not come back the same, if you come back at all. But the mysteries don't end in Kazakhstan. Deep in the heart of Peru, something else waits. A vast desert stretches out, the sun beating down. This plain isn't blank, though. It's covered with giant figures, like someone drew them right on the ground. They're the Nazca lines, made ages ago. Not just scratches, but giant animals. A hummingbird, a spider, even a figure some say looks like an astronaut. They're so big, you need to fly overhead to even see them properly. The Nazca people made them long ago, scraping away the dark desert rocks to make these lines. But why? Maybe it was a message for the gods, asking for rain in that thirsty land. Some think it's a star map, made by people who knew the sky better than we thought. Whatever the truth, the Nazca lines are amazing, a puzzle from the past that still leaves us wondering. The deserts of Peru aren't the only place with giant mysteries. Head to Italy, where a different kind of wonder stands tall. Hidden in a beautiful garden near Florence, there's a massive statue that'll make your jaw drop. It's called the Colosso dell'Apennino, built centuries ago by a famous artist named Giambologna. This isn't just any statue. It's huge, bigger than a house, meant to look like the mighty mountains nearby. But here's the weird part. It's not just for looking at. This giant has secrets inside, hidden rooms, and tunnels that hardly anyone's seen. They say it used to do amazing things. Smoke would come out of its head, and it could even sweat and cry. How they did that back then, no one really knows. Maybe those hidden rooms had something to do with it, almost like this statue was, well, sort of alive. Why did they build something so strange? We're still not sure. Whatever the reason, the Colosso, with all its secrets, is one of the most mysterious treasures from the past. Now imagine a craggy island rising up out of the wild Atlantic Ocean, the wind and waves crashing against it. This is Skellig Michael, off the coast of Ireland, and on its peak, something impossible. Centuries ago, way up high on this lonely rock, monks built a monastery. Not with fancy tools, just their hands and simple stones. They crafted huts shaped like beehives, all clinging to the steep cliffs. How they even got up there, no one's quite sure. Those monks wanted to be alone, to get closer to God in that wild place. But what made them leave centuries later? Bad weather? Viking invaders? We may never know. Today, those stone huts still stand, a puzzle from the past. Skellig Michael whispers of a time when faith was strong enough to move mountains, or at least build on top of them. Far away, in the scorching deserts of Saudi Arabia, there's a rock formation that'll make you do a double take. It's called Al-Nasla, and it looks like it was sliced clean in half with a giant knife, like a piece of bread. The cut is so perfect, so smooth, it's almost creepy. Geologists say it might be wind and water erosion over thousands of years, but that doesn't explain the cleanness of the cut. Was it some natural phenomenon we haven't even discovered yet? Or was it something, or someone else? And that's not all that makes Al-Nasla so strange. The rocks themselves are covered in mysterious carvings, drawings left by people who lived in this harsh desert millennia ago. Animals, strange symbols, even figures that look a little like people. They add another layer to the mystery, hinting at what this place might have meant to those who lived here centuries before us. Was it a sacred site, a meeting place, or something more? Al-Nasla is a puzzle that makes you wonder what other forces might be out there shaping the world in ways we don't even understand. In the mountains of India, the past is full of secrets. Imagine venturing deep into a hillside and finding a cave entrance. But these aren't just any caves. They're called the Barabar Caves, and they're older than you can even imagine. Made centuries ago, these caves aren't rough or jagged. The insides are polished smooth like a mirror. How they did that without power tools, no one knows. And here's where it gets really weird. If you shout inside these caves, your voice echoes back again and again, as if the walls themselves are playing tricks. Some think these caves were built for ancient monks who like to meditate in quiet spots. But those smooth walls and freaky echoes, they make you wonder, weren't these caves used for something even stranger? Were rituals held there, spoken words given power by the way they bounced around? The Barabar Caves are a reminder that sometimes the oldest mysteries are the hardest to solve. Speaking of mysteries that make you shiver, there's a place where the ocean itself seems to play tricks. Ships, airplanes, even people, they vanish into thin air, never to be seen again. Some whisper about pirates hiding out in hidden coves, others blame freak storms or monstrous sea creatures from the deep. But the truth is, no one really knows what happens in the Bermuda Triangle. This shadowy patch of ocean is like a legend come to life. Compasses spin wildly, their needles refusing to point north. Ships, behemoths of steel and power, disappear without a distress call, without a trace. Even planes, soaring through the clear blue sky, vanish from radar in an instant. Is there some strange force at work there? A magnetic pull or a hidden underwater current that swallows vessels whole? Something we don't understand? A force beyond our current scientific knowledge? Or is it all just scary stories, campfire tales spun by sailors to frighten one another? The Bermuda Triangle is the kind of mystery that gets under your skin, that makes you wonder what else might be lurking out there in the vast, unexplored depths of our oceans, or even stranger, in the skies above. Deep in the heart of Mexico City, hidden beneath the streets and buildings, lies a secret from long ago: the Pyramid of Cuicuilco. This pyramid isn't like the ones you see in photos. It's round, like a giant stone cake. They say it was built for a fire god, which makes its story even stranger because this place is covered in lava, frozen in time like a prehistoric Pompeii. Did the volcano erupt suddenly, burying the city and the people who lived there? Or did they make their god angry somehow? Cuicuilco is a reminder that whole cities, whole civilizations can vanish in the blink of an eye. It makes you wonder what other secrets are buried beneath our feet, waiting to be rediscovered. What other stories from the past have been lost to time and natural disasters? Some mysteries aren't about spooky disappearances or angry fire gods. Sometimes it's about finding what was lost long ago. Imagine an endless desert. That's the Kalahari, where sands shift and blow, hiding whatever lies underneath. Legend says a whole city lies buried there, swallowed centuries ago. But the story starts with an explorer named Guillermo Farini, who claimed he found it back in the 1800s. He didn't just see crumbled walls, though. Farini spoke of stone buildings, of finding artifacts that hinted at a whole civilization lost to time. But when others went looking, all they found was sand. Did Farini lie? Did the desert play tricks, making natural rocks look like ruins? Or could the city have vanished again, the sands shifting to hide its secrets once more? The lost city of the Kalahari is a mystery that makes you want to grab a shovel and start digging. Was Farini a fraud, or did he glimpse something truly amazing? The idea of a hidden city, its treasures and stories waiting beneath the desert. It's the kind of mystery that fuels explorers and dreamers alike. Now picture a peaceful forest in upstate New York, the sound of rushing water echoing through the trees. As you follow the sound, you stumble upon a waterfall. But this isn't an ordinary waterfall. There's a flicker of light behind the cascading water. It's the Eternal Flame Falls, a place where fire and water seem to exist side by side. Somehow, a pocket of natural gas escapes up through the rocks, enough to keep a small flame burning forever, or at least as long as the gas flows. Scientists can explain the source of the gas, but why this specific spot? What makes this waterfall different? Is it a quirk of the rocks or a hidden underground source? Eternal Flame Falls shows us that even in familiar places, nature can still surprise us. It's a beautiful, slightly strange phenomenon and a testament to the hidden forces that shape our world. Deep in Indonesia, on a volcanic mountain called Kawah Ijen, there's a lake unlike any other. It glows bright turquoise, beautiful but deadly, so acidic it can dissolve metal. But the strangest thing happens at night. This lake is the heart of the volcano, and it's alive with activity. Sulfuric gases bubble up, and when darkness falls, something amazing happens. Those gases burst into flames, not red or orange like a campfire, but electric blue, flickering and dancing across the lake's surface. Locals say the blue flames are dangerous, maybe even spirits of the dead trapped in the volcano. Scientists say it's just chemistry. But even with the science, Kawah Ijen feels magical, a place where the earth shows us just how powerful and how beautiful the forces of nature can be. Kawah Ijen's blue fire isn't the only strange thing hidden in the heart of volcanoes. Far away, in the icy forests of Siberia, there's something scientists still can't explain. It looks like a giant nest, a mound of broken rocks rising out of the trees. No birds built this though. They call it the Patum crater. At first, people thought it was a meteorite crater, but there's no sign of an impact, no space rock debris. Some think it might have been a volcanic eruption, or maybe even a pocket of gas that exploded from deep underground, blasting the earth outwards. Whatever made it, something strange happened there. Trees won't grow on its slopes, and some locals say that even animals avoid the place. The Patum crater is young, only a few centuries old, and that makes it even more puzzling. It's a reminder that even in the modern world, with all our science, nature can still throw us a curveball, something we can't predict and don't fully understand. Number 1. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, near a Greek island called Antikythera, divers found a cool old machine in a shipwreck. This ancient gadget, made by the Greeks around 150 to 100 BC, was kind of like an old-school computer. It had more than 30 bronze gears in a wooden box. It was super smart at showing how people back then knew a lot about stars and space. It could tell where stars and planets would be, when eclipses would happen, and even when the Olympics were going to be, way before these events happened. This machine was way ahead of its time, showing how the sun, moon, and planets moved. It was found with a bunch of other valuable stuff, which means it was really important. People aren't sure who exactly made it or why. Maybe it was for teaching, navigating, or something else we haven't thought of. Number 2. The Voynich manuscript. Step into the mystery of the Voynich manuscript, a really old book that confuses everyone. Made in the 15th century, probably in Italy, this book is a big puzzle that no one has been able to figure out. Even the best people at solving codes can't crack the strange language inside, called Voynichese. People have many guesses about it. Maybe it's a secret code, a language no one speaks anymore, a huge joke, or a book about myths and legends that are forgotten. This isn't just a regular book. It has 240 pages full of odd pictures and symbols. picture opening a book and seeing plants that look like they come from a fantasy world, stars and moons in ways you don't understand, and bizarre diagrams. These cool but strange drawings make some think it was a book from long ago about how to use plants for healing. But who made this book and their reasons for it are still a big mystery. Number 3. The Baghdad Battery. In Iraq, a strange clay pot was found with a copper cylinder and an iron rod inside, found near old ruins in 1936 and called the Baghdad Battery. People wonder if it means ancient people knew about electricity long before we thought. Some think it could have been used to make gold plating or for healing with shocks, but no one knows for sure. It's from a time between 250 BC and AD 224, showing ancient people were very skilled. Tests have shown it might have been able to make a small amount of electricity with acid, but not everyone agrees. Questions remain. Was it for power, health, or just to hold sacred writings? It got lost in 2003, so its real purpose is still a big question, making people debate and wonder. Number 4. The Nazca Lines. In Peru's Nazca Desert, there are massive ancient drawings, called the Nazca Lines, that you can only fully see from above. Made between 500 BC and 500 AD, these designs spread across over 1,300 kilometers. The creators etched into the earth images of animals, plants, and mysterious human figures covering 50 square kilometers, possibly for celestial beings or as ancient star maps. Creating these lines was a massive effort, using simple tools with amazing precision. Some lines are narrow paths, while others are up to 6 feet wide, preserved for millennia by the dry, stable desert climate. The big question is, why were they made? Theories include appeals for rain, part of religious rituals, ancient weaving patterns, or celestial maps. Despite many theories, the true purpose of the Nazca Lines is still unknown, showcasing the ingenuity and skill of ancient cultures. Number 5. The Piri Reis Map on the 5th. The Piri Reis Map is a fascinating map made in 1513 by an Ottoman sea captain. It's kept in Istanbul and shows South America and parts of an ice-free Antarctica, places that were supposedly unknown back then. This map is unique because it includes drawings and notes that could link to Columbus's lost maps or suggest ancient civilizations we don't know about. What's intriguing is that it shows areas that people of that era shouldn't have known about, sparking theories about ancient world travelers or secret voyages by well-known explorers. There's debate over its depiction of Antarctica, with some thinking it shows early knowledge of the continent. These debates push us to reconsider our understanding of historical knowledge. The Piri Reis Map is a blend of accurate details and unsolved mysteries, continually captivating those interested in history and the world's secrets. Number 6. The Shroud of Turin is a mysterious cloth showing a man who seems to have been crucified, thought by many to be Jesus. It puzzled both believers and scientists. A photo taken in 1898 revealed more details, sparking lots of talk. In 1988, tests suggested it was made in the Middle Ages, leading some to question its age. Still, some doubt the tests, keeping the debate alive. Stored in Turin, Italy, the cloth draws crowds for prayer and wonder. Ideas about its origin include medieval creation or a miraculous event. The Catholic Church hasn't picked a side, but appreciates the devotion it inspires. Blending mystery with faith, the shroud continues to intrigue people worldwide. Number 7. The Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. In Costa Rica's jungles, there are over 300 perfectly round stone balls, a mystery left by the ancient Diquís culture. They vary in size and have puzzled people since their discovery. Were they status symbols, star maps, or something else? Found mainly in the Diquís Delta and Isla del Caño, they date back to between 300 and 1550, showcasing the Diquís' incredible craftsmanship. In 2014, UNESCO recognized their global significance, sparking even more interest. It's still a puzzle how they were made so perfectly round with ancient tools. Many were moved or harmed during banana plantation work, but today they stand as a key link to Costa Rica's pre-European past. Their mystery and beauty continue to intrigue historians, scientists, and visitors alike. Number 8. The Rongorongo Tablets. On the famous Easter Island, known for its huge stone statues, there's another mystery, Rongorongo. These are weird symbols carved into wooden tablets, found in the 19th century. People aren't sure if it's an old way of writing or something else. Rongorongo is different from other writing systems and might be a unique invention. Now, about 24 items with these strange symbols, including tablets and decorative objects, are found in places all over the world, far from their home in the Pacific. What's interesting is that the symbols are written in a special way, going back and forth in lines, and they show pictures of people, animals, and shapes. Stories say Rongorongo came from Easter Island's own traditions. But without something like the Rosetta Stone to help understand it, the real meaning of Rongorongo stays a mystery. People guess it could be anything from a calendar to holy writings. It shows how smart the Rapa Nui people were and adds to the mysteries of old writings we're still trying to figure out today. Number 9. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a huge statue in the Egyptian desert that looks like a lion with a person's head. People think it shows Khafra, an ancient Egyptian ruler, and it has been around since about 2500 BC. It's really big, about as tall as a 6-story building and as long as a city block. Its nose is missing, but it wasn't Napoleon who broke it. It was probably Vandals a very long time ago. There are lots of stories about secret tunnels and the Sphinx being connected to the stars. These stories make us wonder about how much ancient Egyptians knew about the sky. Even though these ideas are cool, we don't have solid proof. So the Sphinx mainly shows us how smart and skilled the ancient Egyptians were at building things. Today, the Sphinx still amazes and puzzles us, reminding us of the incredible things ancient Egyptians did. Number 10. The Sacsayhuaman Walls. High up in Cusco, Peru, there's an amazing fortress called Sacsayhuaman that shows just how clever the Inca people were at building. It's way up at 3,701 meters high and is known worldwide for its huge stone walls that don't even use any mortar to hold them together. These big stones fit together so perfectly, people wonder how the Incas did it without the tools and machines we have today. People aren't exactly sure what Sacsayhuaman was used for. Maybe it was for battles, maybe it was where the royal family lived, or maybe it was a place for special ceremonies. Some think the Incas had some special building skills that we don't know about today. Even with all our modern know-how, it's still really hard to copy what they did. Nowadays, Sacsayhuaman is not just an old ruin, it's a place where the big festival of Inti Raymi happens every year, celebrating the Incas' way of keeping track of time with the sun. It connects the amazing building work of the Incas with the culture of Peru today. Sacsayhuaman continues to amaze and inspire people with its history and beauty. Number 11. The Lost City of Atlantis. Atlantis is a cool tale from ancient Greece, spun by a guy named Plato. He talked about a super-advanced empire that vanished underwater overnight, way before his time. According to the story, Atlantis got too cocky, tried to rule the world, and the gods sunk it as payback. Even though Atlantis is just a tiny slice of Plato's work, it's sparked tons of dreams and debates. Everyone's been hunting for it, guessing where it might be, with lots of arguments. Most experts think Plato just made up Atlantis to teach about the dangers of pride and to explore the idea of a perfect society. Still, the real inspiration for Atlantis, maybe real disasters or myths, keeps folks hooked. Atlantis pops up in movies, books, and chats about ancient mega-societies. But the real draw isn't just the sinking legend, it's about making us think about society, morals, and the big unknowns. And finally, number 12, Göbekli Tepe. In Turkey, there's this super old spot called Göbekli Tepe, way older than Stonehenge by 6,000 years. Some people call it Potbelly Hill. It's got these massive stone pillars, the oldest ones we've ever seen, with carvings of wild animals and weird symbols. These carvings hint that ancient folks might have used this spot for big deal ceremonies or something spiritual, but the exact reasons are still a mystery. A guy named Klaus Schmidt decided to take a closer look at Göbekli Tepe in 1994, even though it was discovered back in 1963. We've only seen a tiny bit of what's there, less than 5%, and every new thing we find just adds to the mystery. Now, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's hinting that maybe people hung out here for big gatherings or something religious before they got into farming. This could really shake up our ideas of how and when people decided to settle down in one spot. Of the many ancient tools and devices prominent in the field of archaeology, few are as astounding in complexity as the Antikythera mechanism. Found over a century ago in the derelict wreckage of an ancient Grecian ship, this piece has confused all historians that attempt to study it and give us a glimpse of a civilization that was tremendously more complex than once thought. The tale of the Antikythera mechanism begins with its discovery in 1901, when Greek sponge divers would stumble onto a shipwreck near the island of Antikythera in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. It was recovered amongst other objects in the wreckage. Initially just looking like an abstract clump of bronze and wood, it would later be identified by scientists as far more complex. This would be the conclusion after years of analysis. Having the appearance of a jumbled mass of fragmented pieces, a closer inspection would reveal more sophisticated contraptions, as the instrument would comprise at least 30 interlocking gears. Additionally, the device was housed in a wooden case that was adorned with inscriptions that depicted celestial bodies. Modern scientists predict that these inscriptions are extremely relevant to solving the mystery of what such a device could have been used for in ancient times. Though the true workings of the Antikythera mechanism are still of popular debate amongst scholars, most believe that it would have been capable of predicting the positions and movements of the sun, moon, planets, as well as lunar and solar eclipses. This would mean that it was some sort of astronomical calculator for the purposes of forecasting celestial events and recording the passage of time. However, alternative theories include the possibility of being a navigational aid or potentially orreries for educational purposes. Whatever the truth of purpose, it remains a testament to the technical skill of its creators. Upon its discovery, the Antikythera mechanism would revolutionize how we understand ancient technology and astronomy. Before its discovery, most believed devices of such acute sophistication were not possible in antiquity. However, the complexity of its design and hints of a sophisticated function would challenge long-held assumptions about the capabilities of ancient civilizations like the ancient Greeks. Moreover, the mechanism sheds light on both the celestial and mathematical understanding of their civilization that has persevered for over a millennium. Presently, scientists still undergo attempts at recreating the device's function to determine its true purpose. The mechanism serves as a reminder that the efforts of historians to decipher these ancient technologies can span many different disciplines and many different generations over decades and centuries. In the field of ancient technology, few others hold such a thick air of mystery as the Baghdad battery does. Having been discovered in modern-day Iraq, the strange device has been subject to debate between archaeologists and histories for decades. Dating back at least 2,000 years, the Baghdad battery consists of a clay jar, an asphalt stopper, and an iron rod, which many believe are the components of a primitive battery. Though the components seem to be relatively simple at first, many believe that its use is rather remarkable for ancient civilization during this time. The story of this curious artifact begins during the 1930s, when German archaeologist Wilhelm König uncovered a collection of curious objects during surveys near the city of Baghdad. Included in the collection of items would be the clay jar, of which inside would be a copper cylinder that encased a small iron rod with an asphalt stopper that kept the opening to the jar sealed. While this was initially dismissed as a mundane miscellaneous object, a second analysis by scientists decades later would turn heads, as to them it would seem to resemble a primitive battery of sorts. The true function of the battery remains pure speculation, as various theories have been proposed over the ages to explain its true purpose. Some scholars suggest that the battery is used for a process called electroplating, a way in which a metal object would be coated with a thin layer of a different metal using an electrical current. Prior to this, evidence of other electroplated artifacts from ancient Mesopotamia would support this theory and would suggest that the Baghdad battery could have potentially been used for primitive metallurgical processes. Additional interpretations of the use for the Baghdad battery lean more towards medical or even religious functions, citing cases in which electrotherapy and ritual practice involving electric shocks have occurred in civilization before. Though it should be noted that many of the theories surrounding the Baghdad battery are subject to extreme scrutiny, as many fringe ideas for its use have been debunked in the past as being radically unrealistic. The discovery and analysis of the Baghdad battery served to alter perceptions of the technological prowess of ancient Mesopotamia. If the device was in fact used for electroplating, then it would put their scientific and engineering ability ahead of what we had believed their people to be capable of before. It additionally is an example of how ancient metallurgy and craftsmanship such as this one is often overlooked by the archaeological community. In conclusion, the Baghdad battery remains to be one of the more intriguing finds recovered from the Mesopotamia River Valley civilization. This peculiar artifact is the centerpiece to countless theories about ancient civilizations and their capability to master electricity centuries before modern humans would do so. As time passes and more information regarding this tool comes to light, we gradually grow a larger appreciation towards the genius of our ancient ancestors. Located in the fertile plain region of the Bekaa Valley in modern-day Lebanon lies one of the most interesting archaeological sites known in the entire world, Baalbek. Being one of the oldest remnants of an ancient city still around today, they are home to some very interesting creations. Dubbed the Baalbek megaliths, these massive stone blocks date back thousands of years and threaten to change how we have come to understand ancient engineering and construction. The history of the city of Baalbek spans thousands of years. It originally was named after the Phoenician god Baal, as it was used as a religious center for the purpose of worshipping this being. However, the site would grow significantly around the 1st century BCE when it would fall under Roman rule and would eventually be renamed to Heliopolis. This is when Baalbek's architectural marvels would begin construction, namely the Temple of Jupiter and the Baalbek megaliths. The most significant feature of the Baalbek megaliths is the trilithon, a series of 3 massive stone blocks that weigh an estimated 800 tons each. These stones were quarried from the surrounding area and transported over a far distance to be arranged in the center of the city, serving as the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter. The gargantuan size of even one of these massive chunks of rock in the trilithon has sparked endless debate between scholars and historians as to how the Romans were able to accomplish the movement of things of this scale. The construction techniques utilized during the creation of the megaliths remain primarily shrouded in mystery and are still being studied by archaeologists. While some propose that simple tools and manpower were used stringently over a period of several years, others believe that more sophisticated means of transportation played a part in the construction process. They claim that it was likely that the architects utilized ramps, cranes, or even tools that are still unknown. Additionally, the sheer accuracy in which the trilithon stones were cut hint at engineering capabilities that were previously thought to be impossible during this period. Historians theorize that the blocks were likely cut in a very similar fashion to another Roman site, Pont du Gard, located in southern France. Each piece was likely hauled to the site using a capstan, a primitive version of the modern winch. Though it was powered by humans instead of friction, the stones were likely split along natural cracks and then dragged along the ground. Though simply, the overwhelming size of the megalith blocks are unique. To date, these are the largest stones that have ever been quarried and moved by human hands, between every civilization that has ever existed. Even if the technology to move these pieces were possible, the organization required to accomplish such a feat must have been extremely difficult to arrange and could have possibly taken multiple generations' worth of planning and labor. The Baalbek megaliths, as well as the entirety of the ancient city of Baalbek, are significant in that they possess an engineering complexity that is unique to the region. As an UNESCO heritage site, they are highly coveted by modern scientific study and are proposed to have numerous mysteries about them that have simply not been answered as of the present. The next piece of technology is a foreboding reminder that much of ancient history remains unknown to us, even in present day. Having been discovered in Delhi, India, this structure would later be dubbed the Iron Pillar of Delhi. Dating back over 1600 years, this remarkable pillar is puzzling to the laws of modern science, as it appears to have been immune to the natural effects of weathering and corrosion. For centuries, the pillar laid exposed to the bare elements, yet is in rather astonishingly good condition. The Iron Pillar of Delhi is believed to have been erected in the 4th century AD during the reign of Emperor Chandragupta II of the renowned Gupta dynasty. Its original location, where it was discovered, was in the ancient kingdom of Magadha, but it would be relocated at some point to the Qutb complex in Delhi. The exact purpose of the pillar has remained a subject of debate between archaeologists for countless years. Some suggest that it played the role of a flagstaff or some sort of memorial, while others believe that the pillar is open to a long-lost interpretation of religious symbolism and significance. Despite its exact use being unknown, India has adopted the pillar as a sort of monument for the country's rich cultural and metallurgical heritage. The pillar is, unfortunately, incomplete. Meant to be dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, it would have at one point had an ornament on the top of the pillar, likely depicting the deity's companion, Garuda. Historians believe that it would have been removed at some point during the Sultanate period because it conflicted with the growing Islamic faith within the area. As previously mentioned, the most remarkable aspect of the Iron Pillar of Delhi is in its resistance to corrosion. Its old age meant that it was exposed to the elements every day for over a millennium and a half. Yet, there is virtually no rust present on its surface, with only sparse traces of minor oxidation. The reason for its remarkable durability is yet to be explained by modern scientists and metallurgists, leading the pillar to be subject to endless analysis. As of our current era, the Iron Pillar of Delhi is the most significant example of iron metallurgy in the world, and its resistance to corrosion will hopefully lead modern technology down a route that allows us to replicate these conditions to form a protective oxide layer, from which we can prolong the weathering of exterior structures and important mechanical technologies. Also having been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Iron Pillar of Delhi is not a one-of-a-kind, however. Similar structures with these resistive properties can also be observed at Dar in Madhya Pradesh and at Kadachadri in Karnataka. It seems the same mysterious preservatives were used throughout ancient Indian civilization and was a well-known practice at some point. Regardless, the puzzle behind how this monument remains standing while its surrounding city has long since turned to dust will remain subject to incredible experimentation and hypothesis. But what if the technology found by archaeologists simply defies any and all explanation? Excavated from within the dense rainforests of Costa Rica lie a collection of strange artifacts that have remained a complete mystery to the historians of Central America. Scattered throughout the small island of Isla del Cano and the Diquís Delta are an assortment of over 300 stones. The intended use for these stones likely died with their creators, the Diquís culture, which prospered in the area around 800 to 1500 AD. The stone spheres of Costa Rica would receive global attention in the late 19th century when workers at a banana plantation would uncover them, clearing land for expansion. Since the discovery of the initial few spheres, hundreds of them have popped up along the perimeter of the area. The stone artifacts, often referred to by archaeologists as petrospheres, would range radically in size, scale, and material. Some have been found to have been smoothed from granite, gabbro, and limestone, with some of the largest weighing up to 16 tons. These represent some of the most impressive stone carvings that have been excavated from the pre-Columbian period in the Americas. Despite their varying sizes, weights, and compositions, every single one of the stone spheres are made in perfect, spherical symmetry, often being compared to the modern billiard ball. Once again, the fact that these indigenous people were able to accomplish such accuracy in their craftsmanship suggests that there were methods of stonemasonry that we are oblivious to at this time. And the discovery of this method of mass-producing perfectly spherical orbs to then leave buried throughout the region would help us better understand that largely sparse histories of Central American civilization. With these cultures having left no written records, historians have run into trouble deriving the significance of the stone spheres. The leading theory at this time is that the petrospheres were used for ceremonial or religious function. However, it is common within the field of anthropology to assume that artifacts with unknown purposes can just be summed up to having been used for ceremonial practice. Our only hint regarding these spheres is that several sites have included them in arrangements and patterns that could be interpreted to have aligned with astronomical events that occurred during their civilization's lifetime. They also could have been used in more practical manners, like having been boundary markers for various territories in the region or held by powerful families to symbolize their superior social status. Efforts have been made by the people of Costa Rica to preserve these mysterious stones, both at their current sites throughout the rainforest and when new additions to the assortments of petrospheres are found. Regardless of their true purpose, they represent a significant competency in craftsmanship for a region that is often ignored by the scientific community and are the final landmark of the late Diquís civilization. Efforts are made to raise awareness for them and to increase preservation efforts so that they may last into future generations. All of these unexplainable technologies serve as reminders of the enduring mysteries of the past. As scientists continue to unravel the secrets of these ancient technologies, one thing remains certain. The mysteries of the past continue to captivate our imagination and inspire further exploration. Whether through archaeological discoveries or technological advancements, the quest to understand these ancient enigmas serves as a testament to the enduring curiosity and resilience of humanity in the face of the unknown.